John D Rockefeller was the world's first billionaire and possibly the wealthiest man in all of human history. He was also a chronic worrier who went to bed obsessing over how to repay his loans and then would wake up the next morning refreshed and resolved to borrow even more money. Let's just say he was a complicated guy.
I am somewhat impulsive, and I don't really want to try to adhere to some CEO template.
In this video, we're diving into Titan, which is about the life of Rockefeller, and we're going to pull out a few breakthrough ideas and timeless principles that you can steal from Rockefeller to put into your life. We're also going to compare that to a few things that we know about that other enigmatic billionaire, Elon Musk. The first thing that hit me about comparing these two mega entrepreneurs is that there is no one right way to success. You can have massive success and you can do it your way. And I hope this video inspires you to do exactly that. First, we have Rockefeller's absolute ruthless focus. In the last couple of decades, we have kind of the rise of the celebrity entrepreneur, right? And we have this vision, I think, of someone like a Richard Branson, and it's meeting to meeting to meeting and bustling, and everything is, just a hive of energy and activity. And you've got like assistants trailing behind you, trying to catch up to you, telling you where to go next and what's next on the schedule, and handing you phones, and you've got like 3 phones and all this stuff. Rockefeller completely shatters that stereotype of the celebrity entrepreneur. He focused ruthlessly and completely on Standard Oil, one business, and he was obsessed with the market share of that one business versus every other. He felt like if he won the battle for market share, then he'd win the game in the long run. And he was absolutely right. Rockefeller said, many of us fail to achieve big things because we lack concentration. The art of concentrating the mind on the thing to be done at the proper time and to the exclusion of everything else. A mentor of mine once said, look, nobody's going to care as much about your business as you do. And he was right. Nobody else is going to lay awake at night thinking about how to grow your business. Nobody else is going to care as much as you do. Nobody else is going to obsess about it. Nobody is going to push as hard as you do, which means most of the time you're the one that's really pushing the business forward. And that takes mental and emotional energy. It is a very rare entrepreneur who has the ability to push and push and push multiple companies at a time to the point where they are actually successful. It's definitely not what I would recommend. And I think it remains to be seen whether Elon himself is actually doing it at a high level necessary to push all 3 of his companies to the level of success that each one of them could have individually. For me, reading about Rockefeller and all of his ruthless focus and his willingness to delay gratification, his insane patience, and all these character traits that he had that are so rare today, it leads me to this breakthrough idea. Focus requires delayed gratification and patience. They go hand in hand. Rockefeller had insane levels of both, and there's clearly a link between the ability to delay gratification and your ability to focus on one thing at a time. Why? Because in order to focus on that one goal, you have to set aside everything else, good and bad, and look at them as distractions that are keeping you from hitting your primary goal. In other words, we have to give up the fantasy of doing everything all at once. It's really hard to give up that fantasy, but in a world of real competition, it's the only way to focus on one goal until we actually win. One of the most fascinating things about Rockefeller is that he took this ruthless focus outside of work and he put it into his family life too. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that are absent either physically or at least emotionally when they're at home. They're always thinking about the business and they're emotionally and mentally somewhere else. Rockefeller was ruthlessly focused on being a committed domestic family guy, which is really rare. Check this quote out. I know of nothing more despicable and pathetic than a man who devotes all the waking hours of the day to making money for money's sake. And that was from the world's first billionaire. So if anyone tells you that you have to hustle 12, 14, 16-hour days and neglect your family and not be there for your kids and all that stuff to be massively successful, just understand Rockefeller completely breaks that idea. One of my clients said to me the other day, look, I want to grow the biggest business I possibly can while working 40 hours a week. And I love that mentality. Next up is Rockefeller's methodical pace. If you think you need to be that high energy, Richard Branson style ball of enthusiasm just to succeed, then Rockefeller completely breaks that stereotype too. It was said that he even walked methodically and he would accidentally sneak up on people because he was so measured and calm in the way that he walked. Never lost his temper, never raised his voice. He always had a nod and a kind word for people. One employee said, I've never seen Rockefeller when he was not friendly and kind and unruffled. Rockefeller was this combination of Puritan work ethic meets optimistic capitalism. He worked extremely methodically, almost mechanically as it seemed to other people, but it was very soothing to him. It actually helped him with the anxiety we mentioned earlier. He stuck to a very fixed schedule, moved very leisurely throughout the day. He was known to take naps after lunch and doze off in the chair after dinner. He was actually proud of his resting heart rate of 52 beats a minute. Even his daily breaks were designed to conserve energy and strike that balance between mental and physical forces. He said, it's not good to keep all the forces in tension all the time. And I think he was onto something, because if you experiment with the hustle mentality enough, you'll know what I mean. You get this high. What it really is that your body is in fight or flight mode all the time for hours and hours a day. That is absolutely not good for your body. You've got tons of social media conversations. You've got all these conversations going on text, and you're making phone calls, and you're running from one meeting to the next, and all feels very busy and very active. What's really happening is that you're scattering a lot of energy in a lot of different directions. Here's a quote that'll blow you away. I'm here because I shirked. I did less work. I enjoyed the open air, sunshine, and exercise. It's remarkable how much we could all do if we avoid hustling and go along at an even pace and keep from attempting to do too much, says the world's first billionaire. So good luck putting that on a meme and putting it on Instagram. You will not get a lot of love from hustle bros. That brings us to the final trait that stood out to me, which is that Rockefeller was very private and introverted, which is totally breaks the stereotype of a celebrity entrepreneur, where Elon Musk has something like 80 million Twitter followers. He did not have a great relationship with the press. He did not seek attention while he was building his business. He was focused on the one thing that mattered. One of his executives said that Rockefeller had the habit of hearing as much as possible and saying as little as possible to gain a tactical edge, which strikes us as so odd and counterintuitive in this age where we have people like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee basically saying that power and money follow attention. And Rockefeller breaks that whole stereotype. And that brings me to a timeless principle. There will always be a market for entrepreneurs who solve big, valuable problems. Over the coming decades, we're going to have newly minted billionaires in spaces like crypto and blockchain and machine learning and virtual reality. And we're not even going to know their names because they aren't mixing it up with the press on Twitter or landing in a hot air balloon Richard Branson style. They are obsessively focused on solving a big, valuable problem, not chasing attention online. Whether you're an actual introvert or you're a digital introvert where you love people, but you don't want to spend your life online, either way, you can steal these breakthrough ideas and timeless principles from Rockefeller and use them to create your own path to success. This channel exists for entrepreneurs who want three things. You want to be famously influential, you want to teach, train, and lead others so you make an impact, and you want to enjoy your life along the way. So if that resonates, hit like, subscribe, share the video, and somewhere around here is a link to watch another video, and we'll see you there.